A lot of homeowners here in West Hartford are asking the same question right now. Should I sell in 2026 or should I wait? And honestly, when I get asked this question, it really comes down more to the families or the individual's personal goals than what's going on in the market. I mean, yes, the inventory's low, the buyer demand has stayed strong here in West Hartford, so we're still seeing the average days on market be down. We're still seeing homes sell over asking price on average. So it's a seller's market. The seller has a lot of leverage. That being said, if you don't have a specific plan or need to sell, the grass is not always greener, and you may, yes, make some money on the sale, but if you find yourself in a lesser lifestyle situation because of the sale, then was it worth it? So selling just to sell doesn't make much sense, even though we're in a seller's market. That being said, if you do have a specific purpose for selling, there's a need for it, whether it's size, bigger, smaller, location, for family, job, etc., and there's a reason for it, well then heck, let's dive into that a little deeper to see if it makes sense. So I wanted to talk about a few things to consider based on what's going on in the country, not just West Hartford, Connecticut. And the reason I say that is because, last week I did a video that shared 51% of West Hartford sellers actually leave the state. So if you're only buying in the town of West Hartford, well, then it's easier for us to know exactly what's going on, right? We talk about those numbers and statistics monthly, and we're always sharing videos like this. But if you're moving to some other parts of the country, it can be a little grayer. And quite frankly, even in Connecticut, not all towns perform the same. So I've been lucky enough to sell all over the state for the past 15 years. And something I learned very early is just because something happens in one town doesn't mean it's the same in the other. And that's especially true with West Hartford, as our numbers tend to be a little more seller leveraged than the rest of the state, historically speaking. Not all towns, but a lot of it, because it is such a popular area. And there are so many hospitals and jobs around here towards the center of the state. In addition to all the other great things West Hartford has to offer, our market is a little bit unique. So if you're staying in town, it's kind of easy. If the market's great, you're gonna sell high, but you're gonna buy high. If the market's weaker, you're gonna get a great deal on the purchase, but you're also gonna sell your home for less. It's kind of a wash if you're buying in town. The strategy comes more into play if you're leaving town or leaving the state. If you're going to another town or area of the country where it's a seller's market, again, same principle applies. But if you're searching out specific towns or destinations where inventory is rising, which many parts of the country are in that situation, where inventory is rising, days on market is rising, and prices are coming down, now you can take advantage of the opportunity of selling in West Hartford where we're still leveraged and the prices are high, and buy into a market that has some more choices as a buyer. Again, I'll circle back. This only becomes relevant if there's a lifestyle desire to go into one of these places, or else it's a moot point. So when families ask me, should I sell in 26? What's a good time to sell? I always bring it back to the family or the individual's goals, right? To see if that makes sense. And then we work backwards off that to create a plan based on what you're looking for. We had one family that really was looking to get into a more private area, a little less foot traffic, and really enjoy the mountains and the outdoors, where they can go hiking, mountain biking, and find an area of the country that they can do that. And we were able to help them do that. And price point, finding a quote unquote deal wasn't the driving factor there. It was, and for some it is, and that's okay, and that's a different strategy. For them, it was, finding a a place, an area where their family can really thrive with that outdoors lifestyle they wanted, and then circle back and make sure we're getting top dollar here. So if it's in Connecticut, of course, my team and I, we are always happy to help and can make those connections in state. If it's out of state, we still mastermind with other agents across the country and have a great network of agents that we could tap into once we understand the goal. So if you want to dive into this a little further, just have an exploratory call that gets into what you're trying to do and seeing if we could start to connect the dots. I'm always happy to help. You can call, text, email. There's never any obligation. It's really the first step to every move. And if you've already made the decision, great. These are some factors to consider to hear if 2026 is right for you. Stay tuned for our monthly market updates where I really get into the numbers and make sure I'm keeping everybody up to date on what's happening, so that if there are changes, you're the first to know.